All right, we finally made it.
Whew, it took long enough time to get this thing set up. My settings are rather particular, so it's kind of difficult to get set up on other computers. So this game is Command & Conquer Red Alert 2, arguably the most enjoyed game in the entire franchise, with a lot of players still active to this day through the live support of mods and CNC.net. This game was a really good game back. This game sold very, very well back in the original release before MOBA decided to dominate the strategy genre. And this game is very well dear to me, so I felt that this was the game that I would start speedrunning with, and I enjoy it very thoroughly. The Allied campaign, which is one of the two factions within the game, which I'll explain here in just a moment. The Allies, which is the quote-unquote good guys, is the U.S. trying to fend off the Soviet invasion and ultimately put a stop to it. The other faction is the Soviets, who are trying to, well, what else in these kind of games? Take over the world and give communism to every country in the world. But yeah, the game has a lot of good, funny cutscenes. Especially the earlier games were a little bit more serious, while the later games end up getting a little cheesier. Especially Red Alert 3, they went really cheesy in that game. And if I haven't I already mentioned it, but the game is a real-time strategy, so you control, it's plays similar to StarCraft 2. You control specific units and tell them what to do, as well as manage an economy. Although the economy isn't a big focus, it is still rather important. You got to make sure you have the right productions, the right setup, the right counters, so on and so forth. And with that, I think I'll go ahead and give it a start.
All right,
Starting
just
in
give me a
3,
count.
2, 1, go. We begin with the invasion that the Soviets launched the first strike against the U.S. without the U.S. knowing whatsoever, so we got to figure out what we need to do to stop them, and we got to hold off the attack. We have a special agent on this case to help us out with the initial invasion.
Tanya here. Listen up. We got a couple commie dreadnoughts in the harbor, looking for a special sightseeing tour of the Hudson River. I say we give them a very special view of the bottom first.
First thing we want to do is make sure that we get to the enemy dreadnoughts as fast as we can, because we want to get them to stop attacking the Statue of Liberty, and waypoints is one function that helps speed up the game, and competitive uses it very heavily as well. Want to get these guys moving as fast as we can. Keyboard's throwing me off a little, but everything seems to be fine. Make sure we got to get them in the right group so we know we can micro them just fine. Uh-oh.
I offer special invitation to citizens of the United States of the great Soviet Union. See your liberty, how she lies broken before you. In but a moment's time, your once powerful city of New York will follow in her footsteps. A choice is yours. You can continue to mourn your past, or surrender and join us in the great Soviet Revolution.
Good work, Commander. We're back in contact with the fort. Tanya has sent over intel on the location of an important Soviet supply base in the area. General Carville would like you to dispose of it ASAP. Oh, keep up the good work, son.
So what we're trying to do is we're trying to quickly eliminate the Soviet base as fast as we can using the infantry we're given. These dogs, got to get the engineers moving as fast as can. This beginning mission actually requires a lot of juggling, but luckily it's only for a short period of time. Got to capture the building, got to get the tanks to take out the structures, and we'll be getting to the first missions real soon. Engineers were a little slow, and that's the first mission. Usually they expect you to build some units and invade that way, but we just took it out in under 3 minutes.
On my way.
Can't hear
I've located a group of Rocketeers in Colorado Springs. They're ready to move in on our orders.
It's not throwing me off. I'll fix it for a second. Yeah, it's back.
You can have it as long as
Huh?
if you want, you can just wear that around your neck and just have it.
Oh,
True.
Okay. Now the GIs we just sent up here was to reveal the path so we can take out this flak cannon, which would otherwise decimate our Rocketeers, which are flying infantry, and really fun. And they hesitated for a moment because I had to figure out some stuff. Now we want to take these buildings as fast as possible because not only do we need them to beat the mission, but also speed things up because we can get some infantry production to send over to the enemy base as fast as possible. Now, unfortunately, I wasn't able to get the enemy manipulations to get them to not build their war factory, which is what they use to build the tanks and such. But under some circumstances, there's a way to get them to not be able to build that, and it speeds beating the missions faster. Let's get some of that. Get the Rocketeers over there. Get them over there. Now, how did that not get destroyed? I was not paying attention to that. Everything's fine, though. They don't have a construction yard, so they can't build it or anything. Okay. Fuck. She can't die. You know what? I'm gonna go ahead and restart this mission. That went. I don't know what happened there.
I thought the issue was no game sound in your headset. If you want, you can put that on. I was just trying to give a solution.
Anyway, now we should do this mission just fine now that we don't have many technical problems. Hopefully.
I've located a group of Rocketeers in Colorado Springs.
There's a specific spot here that I reference in order to make sure that the Rocketeers are moved in such the right pattern that they don't get hit much at all by the enemy anti-air. Come on. Now I have to get Tanya into the water before she does anything, otherwise she'll insist on going around and take damage free willy-nilly. And because if she goes right in front of a sentry, she will get killed by them. Make sure I can see that flak cannon, although now it's going to cause problems because it went hit itself.
We have a $25 donation from Aren. Great event, guys. Keep gaming for good things. Shout out to Riven.
Now I have to pay attention to the Rocketeers real carefully because I didn't get to see the other anti-air cannon. Okay, they're good. Are they? No, they're not. Didn't have these problems in practice.
I've located a group of Rocketeers in Colorado Springs. They're ready to move in on our orders.
I mean, it may just be I have a different setup, so kind of throws off your muscle memory. You know what I'm saying? Don't worry, that's perfectly normal. I'm not saying that ironically, I actually mean it. Can't get the manipulation now, but that's perfectly fine. Sorry. Now, the idea is that we can take out the enemy base really fast thanks to the Rocketeers that they provide us with. And we provide some backup here with the extra engineers where we can capture the buildings. These sentries are actually, these ones in particular, are really easy to forget about. But luckily, I came up with a strategy just recently that allows me to make it a little easier to remember how to take them out. Actually, you don't do that yet. Just trying to get the enemy, some units over there as fast as possible. We don't want to use Tanya over there, simply because if she dies, the mission is killed over, which is why I had to restart it the first time, over complications that would have risked having her killed. Now that the flat cannons are down finally, we get some reinforcements which will help take care of the enemy base much faster. And this sentry is distracting the other, so distracted by the miner, so she can take it out rather quick, easily. And these drops were okay. They could have been a little better, but oh well. Wire 2. Sorry, the keys are different than what I'm used to. Alright, we're about past this mission finally. Alright. That mission can be done under 3 minutes easily.
So,
now this,
so I just noticed that we have a question in chat. How much is this like Warcraft 3's story mode?
It's very similar in the fact that it's scripted missions, and that... Hold on, this mission actually I have to think about. They have the very similar aspects in the sense that while there may not be any real heroes besides the occasional special hero that you get for one, but there's more centralization on the variety of units rather than focusing on a singular hero. And in this game, you mostly are in control of an army as opposed to individual characters, with the exception of Tanya on a few missions. In a later, in the expansion pack, Yuri's Revenge, you actually do get control of a specific hero for the Soviets, who's known as Boris. Unfortunately, I don't think we'll have the time to be able to show him off. And this mission we do extremely fast, assuming that this IFE is not taken out too fast. Okay, good. That mission's supposed to take quite a while. You're supposed to get a whole army, go over there, but no, just get the IFEs, get it promoted fast enough, and we can get the president out there in no time.
Yeah. And just another thing, if anybody in chat has any questions that they would like to ask the runner, feel free to post it in chat, and I will pass it forward.
One of the best parts of the game are the cutscenes. They're very camp. They're very entertaining. This is another mission that actually I figured this one, the fast draft for this mission, I've never done this mission as quote-unquote intended. When I was a kid, I accidentally figured out how to quickly get a Rocketeer up and take out the enemy psychic amplifier, which is what we're going to attack, faster than they expected. All you got to do is sneak around it and bam, you got it. Of course, here, I know what the strategy is. We can go there even faster. And obnoxiously, there's some flak cannons that are just up ahead, so we gotta spread these units out, and they never want to actually spread out, and they want to clump up, and they want to get hit by the flak cannons, which have massive area damage. That went actually pretty well. And then we just want to bombard them, bombard the psychic amplifier as fast as we can, and the mission will be done. Ultimately, optimizing this level, it comes down to movement on the unit's parts, which you only have so much control for. I'm not sure what kind of RNG controls their movement or so,
They never saw us coming.
if the pathing has RNG. Or Chicago.
I really love the
Yeah,
scenes.
easily the highlight of the game. And now we want to get some, the story has it that now we want the Europeans to help the U.S. in the fight against the Soviets. However, since there's nuclear warheads right across the border, that can't be done. So now we have the goal. We're tasked to get those taken out. And my favorite part of the run coming up here in just a second,
Sir, be on the lookout.
woof woof goes the British spy.
They've been released to sniff out our spies.
So many years in the academy to become the most elite spies that the British Empire has ever had, for them to go woof. Bark, bark, good boy. Now we just simply need to infiltrate the battle lab, which is, don't worry, if she got hit, she would have been fine. Actually, I'm going to have them hesitate for just a moment because I don't want them hit by the dogs. Only the dogs can sniff them because dogs like to sniff each other's asses, but they're the only ones that can actually determine if a spy is not one of theirs. Yep, everything's going just fine. And we're taking a route than they would expect us to take. Normally we'd go this direction with Tanya, but we're able to save about 10 seconds by taking this direction instead.
Our spies have infiltrated the Soviets' battle labs and crates.
We don't need the extra crates.
Rock and roll, Commander. So let's take out those silos and head on home.
The strategy for this mission is actually very straightforward, and ultimately the optimization comes down to really fine movement and possibly some RNG. Like when the spies came out of the helicopter, they actually went south when they usually go north, which saves a bit more time. And these dogs, I never trust these dogs, so I never gun against them early because they will kill her in one hit, and if she dies, unfortunately, that would kill her, the run. And luckily, we got this extra tank that will take out this other nuke for us while we go take out the third one. By the time we get there, it will be destroyed. Originally, the route had us go here and then over here. That's not necessary. So it's about 10 seconds from the old route. So shout-outs to Joseph K, or I can't, for the life of me, I can't remember his name right now. I'm sorry, dude. Who originally came out, the run that I first referenced in order to route this game out. He actually had some really good routes. I just ended up finding some ideas as I progressively played the game. Fun fact, if she can die shortly before the mission accomplished appears, it will say mission accomplished, but then turn around and say mission failed. But if she dies later than that, she can die and mission still accomplished. It's funny how the map script works. Don't want to attack the fodder, which is common. Dogs, usually in the competitive scene for this game, they send dogs ahead just so they can eat damage that would otherwise be hit by other units. So that's the example of what they were doing. And these prison towers don't work so cooperatively, as Einstein's explaining. Ugh. Now we've got to take back the capital for, well, obvious reasons. Again, for some godforsaken reason. But this mission is the longest one in the run, and is actually probably the most stressful for a lot of casual players as well. I remember this mission being like one of those that you sit back, just do whatever, get a supermassive army. But no, we're not going to do that. We're just going to go ahead and raid them real quickly. In there. Right now, I'm setting up to be able to get, raid the nearby orange base, which a lot of people would be able to remember. Get over there. Don't take damage. We're going to be using these guys as the next the stratum we'll be coming up using here real soon is a bit risky, so I'll be using a backup save. And I got to set these up so that the engineer craft is in the back. Can juggle at the same time. Just make sure they're moving while you're constructing. Actually, that one. Back this up. And let's go in the base. They take out the initial defenses that I need to worry about. Sentry. First try. Actually, I should have built the war factory, but it doesn't matter. I've got plenty of time. Now, of course, the orange base. Once you, that's the factor I should have included. Once you capture the enemy's production facilities, which is largely the construction yard, the barracks, and the war factory, they immediately sell off everything and swarm you. With our defenses that we have now, however, we're perfectly fine. And these dogs have weird run speeds, so that's why they're just obliterating the men right now. And next phase is being able to raid the enemy base. Actually, I need to start building Harriers, don't I? I'm going to be honest, I actually did very little de-rusting when I really should have done more. But the first mission was something that I shouldn't have made a mistake on at all. So what we're going to do is we're going to not let him die because we're trying to use him to manipulate the enemy. Is just engineer rush the enemy base very quickly and use the Harriers to take out the barracks. It's possible to do it with just one. Hold on, I want to get these set up for later. With just one IFV each with an engineer, but it's significantly riskier. So definitely more viable for marathon runs. And I honestly, just for full game runs, you generally do that too, because it's just way too risky in order to pull it off during a full game run, unless you're really desperate for time saving. So now we're just on our way. In the meanwhile, we're waiting on the production of the Harriers. What do you... Only during marathons, right? Luckily, they can repair each other, so that's not a problem at all. Just getting them primed up. I'm going to back this up just in case, because that went really weird. Probably the resolution, which is kind of throwing me off right now. Now, do we pull in the tank? Yep, here comes the ADHD tank. Oh, I guess he changed his mind. Because usually I can tell whenever the enemy tank, a tank that wants to come defend the base is here, based on the sounds that it makes. Want to get these defenses set up in time. Now we can enter the enemy base, and this is where things get really tight, so I'm going to be making several backups during this. Might not be able to use this save. Nope, got it anyway. And now the enemy's going to try swarming us with units. That definitely should have worked to destroy the barracks. And here they come. Now it's just the wait game, and the Rocketeers that have been set here, or at least they ought to be here, are now going to be protecting the bridge to kill them as fast as they can as possible. And of course, we also want to check up here because they occasionally send units through this way, and it would be better to know where they are sooner than later. We're also building extra barracks because it helps increase the production speed of the Rocketeers, and each barracks is cheaper than one Rocketeer, so it's very useful. If we have any donations, now would be a fine time to read them. And a sin that no casual player wants to do is sell off the construction yard, but it's viable to get some spare cash.
We don't have any new donations since the last time I read some.
All right, that's fine.
But
right now we're...
Yeah, but will say one thing. Everyone who is donating, first of all, thank you very much. We really appreciate it. But another thing you should do is, if you are working full-time somewhere, check with your employer and see if they will do a corporate match. A lot of big employers do that, and it's a great way to get more money for the Children's Miracle Network Hospital in our area.
All right, time to cheer off the rest of the units, and we should be done here real soon with this level. Get some of the slackers that get the other ones up north, because they're going to take their time. Odds are the second one will be killed off pretty quickly, though. The prism towers and the units barracks inside the Pentagon will take out the miners very quickly. We just want to try to kill them as fast as we can. Come on, come on, come on. And there we go. Difference in part time, they expect you to take over an hour, and that's over 75 minutes. We did that in under 10. And that can be even short. There's even a faster route that I haven't been able to consistently get yet, so unfortunately I wasn't able to even think about using it. If I capture the enemy red base, the enemy orange base, I can use their technology against them and use some terror drones. But it's kind of a gamble because it's hard to get the enemy to ignore the terror drones while they're attacking. How the enemy attacks your units is inconsistent. I have to work on it some more. And this mission is also another one that I've never done as intended, as there was one little structure oversight that lets you take out the enemy ridiculously quickly than you much faster than you should. You can't even really do this mission as a glitchless one at all either, simply for the fact that how the map scripts work. What's supposed to happen as this base is supposed to be taken out by the Soviets and they construct their own base, yada yada yada. And there's some incoming enemy reinforcements to stop you from attempting to get there extra quick. But the script has it written that in order to beat the mission, you destroy all enemy structures. Well, in the beginning of the game, they have one little sentry. Take that out, you're done. Now, I did this a little slower than I usually do, so this won't be super fast, but personally, whenever I destroy the sentry before the barrels explode, I feel like I saved them. I do. Nice. Now, this mission is infamous for runners because this one, if by random chance, Tanya will die on the inside while moving over to the enemy base. Luckily, it doesn't lose that much time, but if you're trying to get an optimized time, it can be devastating. Hopefully, I shouldn't encounter it. It happens more often when you try to get them running as fast as bloody possible, so I intentionally hesitated for a split moment before doing anything. And it did not happen. There was a specific time frame it happens, and it did not occur. I sent the unit up here because there's going to be some upcoming dogs that are going to just do nothing but end up causing problems for me in the long run. Now, I'm going to manipulate Tanya in a specific way here, because I don't want her to attack that, but I need her to attack the oncoming GIs, which are mind-controlled, by the way, and in order to attack the conscripts to help out some units that I'll be getting later in this level. And these engineers, I've recently been able to find a use for them. For a while, they've just been sitting, and they just twiddle around, do nothing, just capture this, and I don't know, just stand there all day. But there is a uncaptured war factory at the bottom where I can use some tanks against the base. It doesn't save a significant amount of time, but it does help out a bit. However, I got to move them just right, otherwise they'll get killed. We can quickly get into this enemy base through this. Bad wall RNG. Oftentimes this can get destroyed too, allowing her to move a little faster. I did it wrong. Oh well. It's not crucial. I do have to destroy the remainder buildings, but unfortunately, because of how waypoints work, if I tried connecting after blowing this part up, she'd want to walk all the way around. So I have to wait until it gets destroyed, then initiate the commands to destroy these buildings. Kind of sucks I didn't get the extra war factory. Have arrived. These guys help out with revealing the map a little bit. Give me my tanks. Deploy. There we go. Now we're only going to take out the enemy base with the units that they gave us, so makes things much faster. Come on. Come on. There we go. And these prism tanks, they can shoot from. They are your typical siege units. They can shoot from afar and do quite a bit of damage. However, they're also quite fragile, so you've got to be really careful on what they do in managing them. I mean. And if we're not careful, I'm actually going to make a backup on this now that I think about it. Tanya can get killed by a dog, and of course the mission will fail. Luckily, in the expansion pack, Yuri's Revenge, Tanya's death does not fail the mission, where she just, she gets taken out of combat. Which is far more convenient, both game-wise and lore-wise. Didn't want to lose that, but oh well. Just taking out the enemy production so they sell off, and we can quickly finish off this mission. Tanya will quickly take out the infantry. Do not lose that, do not lose that. There we go. Now, the prism tank's primary purpose is to take out those infantry that are hidden behind the barracks. And now we got the problem with the dog. This dog is always... I can never consistently tell whether it's going to cause a problem or not. Yep. Oftentimes, half the time it's the last unit, half the time it's not there. That's actually the main reason why I send that initial engineer up north, not engineer, GI up north to enter the building, because it's supposed to take care of the dogs. I guess that's not what it doesn't always do that properly. Now this one is probably the most micro-intensive. The better you can manage these units, the better time you can get. In the rusting, I haven't had very good results with these, but I can do just fine. We have the Navy SEALs, which are actually essentially clones of Tanya for the original game, whereas in the sequel, Tanya gets more abilities and Navy SEALs become a producible unit. They go straight down. He takes out the extra units, and these guys clears out the prisoners. We want to take care of the dogs because they will instantly take care of our units. Get the tank down first because otherwise they'll go all the way around. So we want to make sure we get that down. We can use these engineers for the prism towers, which they actually call which are actually a little different than the prism towers we had just earlier. He's going to chill out there because we're going to use him later on. Okay, I'm going to focus on it a bit here. So if you want to read donations, if there are any, now's a good time. manipulate the enemy to attacking this. Backup strat. Microwing's not that good right now, but it's all right. Yeah, microwing, please. Now they'll all be attacking, so we got to be careful on what gets killed. You focus on those. Frustratingly, they can actually be crushed, despite the fact that they fixed that in the later games. Early seals can still be crushed, but Tanya cannot, whereas in this game, Tanya can be. Okay, the sentry should be the last thing. Yep. It's just a matter of taking out the base as fast as possible. Microwing wasn't that spectacular here, but everything's alright. Still under 4 minutes. Now we have to protect Einstein, who is creating the chronosphere that will allow us to warp right into the center of the Soviet Union, allowing us to take care of Premier Romanov much faster. And Soviets know this, and we got to protect him now. Lots of microwing to go here. We got to take care of. We're going to be taking the enemy is not even going to get the opportunity to build their base. We're just going to straight up take all their stuff and leave them with nothing at all. And then they'll have to just straight attack our base, and we'll handle it from there. Prison Tower's just there as an extra. I thought that strategy that the first runner did was actually pretty good, so I kept it. Accidentally messed up my... There we go. There we go. We got lots of those. The Mirage tanks are very useful in this mission, particularly, because they do quite a bit of damage and the enemy rarely notices them. They can get noticed, but not very often. And here they come. And these guys will, the Navy SEALs that are now in the IFVs will help take care of the oncoming infantry. And the Mirage tanks will help take care of the tanks and the obnoxious V3 rockets. This is the one I have to remember the most. And it's taken care of. I've never had a problem with it before. Be gone. Let's take the enemy's construction yards. Gotta wait for it to deploy, though. And easy peasy. Now we just move our guys back to the base, because otherwise the enemy's going to linger trying to attack them, and it's best to speed things up this way. Let the Rocketeers show the map so we know where the enemies are. Mirage tanks do best when they're sitting by themselves so the enemy doesn't notice. If they're attacking while moving, they will get noticed. Balance reasons, obviously. See. Yeah. See, no one's coming from the north area, so I can probably just go straight back here then. Oh, I lost a seal? Thanks. Now it's just infantry, so we can just bombard them as fast as we can. There are ways to do this a bit faster, but I wasn't managing it well. There we go. So no enemy base, taken care of real quickly. Actually, this may be one of the changed files, but that's fine. Actually, it shouldn't be because of the times, but anyway. Now, this mission is probably the best one in the whole run, because this one actually uses a glitch, rather than every other mission before, was just different strategies. This mission uses a really neat glitch. I haven't actually tested it out in different other missions, but this is the only one that I've verified is over 2 minutes faster than the original strategy, which is to warp in a whole bunch of prison tanks to the enemy base. It's far simpler. It's a lot it's a lot more difficult to mess it up. And it's all comes down to build order, how fast you can get your structures built. Just selling these off because the enemy is going to be taking them over at some point, so might as well just let them be gone already. Otherwise, they're just going to get destroyed. Now, we're building Navy SEALs, even though we don't really need them for any much other reason other than to blow up the bridges and to deal with an oncoming reinforcements that's later on. Although, because of the route change, it may not even need to be necessary anymore. But I still do it because I lose no time doing it. One of those, not necessary, but I just do it out of habit. It's all this one comes down purely to build order. So what we're doing is we're going to be setting up to be able to use a really cool glitch, which I'm going to be showing off in a bit. Don't have to worry about these enemies whatsoever, and I'm actually going to sell these off for some spare cash. I'm not going to say what it is quite yet for those who don't know, but it's going to be really fun. Chronosphere, spy, give damage to that. Got to make sure that bridge stays destroyed. The Soviets do occasionally repair it to be able to send infantry over it. I'm going to back this up because if you do this incorrectly, it can mess the glitch up. If you know it, you should already have some idea what's going to happen. Now we can use the ability that's in a unit that's multiplayer only when you enter an enemy allied, or actually allied tech center. We can use the Chrono Commandos, which instantly warp somewhere and can have the same functionality as a Navy SEAL. They are extremely powerful if used in the right hands. And since we're in single player and can use save, I'll show you off the second part of the glitch.
This message goes out to hidden commander, who continues to dance, but ceases to amuse. Now is time to submit to Soviet supremacy, commander. After you feel pain from my nuclear bombs, you will wish for another chance.
You can hear the desperation in his voice when he says that. Now it's just a matter of getting these SEALs down as fast as possible. I'm knocking at your door. Waiting for the third one. And you look away. You missed it?
Yeah, unfortunately, I missed it.
Now that warm milk. Your time is up, commander. And you will be glad. Very soon.
So what I did was I was able to create use a glitch to get a multiplayer only unit and use the save to be able to to remove the cooldown timer on the chrono ability, which is what I can warp units with.
Ah, very nice. Very, very cool.
And this is the last mission, so naturally it's also one of the most difficult ones. So I got to pay extra sharp attention to what I'm doing here. But there's also RNG that can kind of screw you over. There are terror drones that can sometimes attack you and completely throw you off. They killed both several of my attempts during practice, so hopefully they don't cause too much problem here.
They're ready to receive your MC.
The order of how I do things is very particular. First, we got to clear out that enemy tank. We don't want to have to deal with that. Now we want to draw out the apocalypse tanks protecting this base, which we can do this way. In the meantime, we're going to be building some barracks because we're going to be using the enemy's technology against them here in just a moment. Now, this garrison building is going to take out the apocalypse tank. Uh-oh, that's not good. Yeah, it's fine. It's just not ideal. Wasn't supposed to lose the IFE. Under most circumstances, it attacks the building instead. Clearing the way for the units. Almost always lose 2 infantry there, unfortunately. Oh, there goes the terror drones. Luckily, we had that there, the building, so that wasn't a problem. Unfortunately, they're likely to send the second pack, so I'm just going to back that up just in case. Now we're going to be capturing 2 different buildings. I'm just going to repair that for just a moment since we have the opportunity to. We're going to use the enemy's Yuris against them. And of course, the more barracks we have, the faster we can build. And we can build rather fast, actually. It's actually surprisingly fast. The Legionnaires are not necessary, and you don't even get the opportunity to use them on a harder difficulty, but they usually are helpful as backup infantry. And I'm going to save this because I don't want to lose these IFVs in the process. I send those units down there to distract the Tesla coil so these guys don't get hit in the process. So now we're going to go down to the enemy base by going through a certain pass so we don't get seen or hit. The war miners are just partially cycle-based, I suppose, depending on... But they never cause too much trouble. Here comes another set of terror drones. Luckily, they shouldn't cause any trouble for us. IFEs were dumb, or the flax. Almost there. Get ready for time. A little too early. In 10 seconds, within 10 seconds. And time.
47-23.
Not terribly bad, but, you know, that's what happens when you don't do rust for very long. This cutscene's very good.
show of high technology and good old military discipline. Much of the credit for the amazing success of the Allied campaign goes to a little-known commander from...
So that's the Allied campaign for Red Alert 2. It's easily the better campaign over the Soviets because the Soviet campaign, while some of the missions are actually fun, there's a 21-minute auto-scroller that just makes it not fun to want to run the whole game. But it's not nearly as bad as the campaign for the Terran campaign for StarCraft, since you just sit on your thumb and twiddle your thumbs once you get a certain setup. No, you actually have to do a little bit during the mission, but so on. So the Allied campaign is easily my favorite campaign. I also run the expansion pack Yuri's Revenge, and I've also ran the previous game to this, Tiberian Sun, and the one that came after this, Renegade. I also plan on doing the entire series at one point in my life. I don't know when, but I really enjoy real-time strategy games, and I do think they do make for good, very good speedruns. People often overlook them, and when they see that people actually do speedrun them, they often go, wow, I didn't think this genre could be ran. And yeah, it's really fun to speedrun, and we have a Discord dedicated to that if you have any interest in that. Just check out one of the games on speedrun.com, and there's a link in the resources if you're interested in speedrunning one of the any real-time strategy. We're talking Warcraft, StarCraft, Age of Empires, Command & Conquer, Army Men, RTS, which Springer does, and other games as well. Homeworld, that's all I can think of off the top of my head, unfortunately. And with that, that will be all for me. I also run a few other games. There is one other game I've ran that's unrelated to real-time strategies, Psycho Waluigi, which is a fan game and really fun. Recommend anyone just try it out casually, even though how difficult it is. But thank you for having me for the marathon, and it was I had a good time.
Thank you for coming out here.
Yep.
And with that, coming up next, we will have Spyro, A Hero's Tale, run by Hey It's Bentley. And that was Command & Conquer Red Alert 2.